Okay, ladies and gentlemen, yesterday we did adding and subtracting, so guess what we're doing today? Multiplying. We're going to multiply a polynomial by a monomial. Those sound like scary words, but let's check and see what's going on. So right here, I've got two examples that probably seem very familiar to you. The first one, your typical distributive property. The second one, a little bit more complicated, but still the distributive property. So my question to you is, am I multiplying a monomial by a polynomial? The answer is yes. In both of these circumstances, we have a monomial multiplied by a polynomial, in this case a binomial. We have a monomial multiplied by a polynomial, in this case a trinomial. So you actually are really familiar with how to do this. It's essentially the distributive property. So let's go ahead and do an example. Again, I'm going to show you two methods, the horizontal method and the vertical method. The horizontal method you are extremely familiar with, and it looks like the distributive property, just like you're used to. So I take the number on the outside and multiply it by each number on the inside. So remember here, I'm multiplying. So when I multiply exponents, I'm actually going to add them. So this gives me negative 12x to the fourth plus negative 3 times 6 is negative 18. And I got an x squared and an x, so I add the exponents together. I get x cubed. And then the last one, negative 3 times negative 8, positive 24x squared. And happily, my final answer is already in standard form, so I'm finished. Now, the vertical method is very similar. You're just going to take the numbers and line them up vertically. You're going to do 4x squared times negative 3x squared, which is negative 12x to the fourth. Then you're going to take 6x and multiply it by negative 3x, which gives you negative 18x to the third. And then you're going to take your last one, negative 8 times negative 3, which is positive 24x squared. Now, basically, this ends up being the exact same thing, both in work and what your final answer is. Whichever way you want to do it is totally fine with me. Let's try a more challenging one. Oh, and by the way, if I hadn't mentioned this already, you should be following along on your worksheet that I gave you at the start of class, and these examples are at the top of the worksheets. You should actually copy down the work as we do it so you have something to reference later. Alright, so example 2. We've got a monomial multiplied by a binomial subtracted by a monomial multiplied by a binomial. A lot of work to do here. We're going to distribute first, and then we're going to have to combine some like terms. So I'm going to distribute the negative 2 to both things inside the parentheses. That gives me negative 8x squared. Negative 2 times 5 is negative 10x. Then I'm going to multiply a negative x by x squared. That gives me negative x cubed. And the negative x by 6x. That gives me negative 6x squared. Now, I've got a whole bunch of negatives floating around here. Some of you might really like to do some keep, change there. There's no parentheses, so I'm just doing a normal keep, change here. Alright, so now I want to combine some like terms and get this into standard form. So the biggest exponents go first. That's going to be this guy. I've got negative x cubed first. Then I've got a couple of like terms, a negative 8 and a negative 6, which gives me a negative 14x squared. And then I've got the last one, a negative 10x. Final answer, in standard form, perfectly simplified. No more math I can do. All right, so you're going to finish the rest of that worksheet, working individually on your own, 1 through 17. Please ask me questions as you're working.